Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be sharing with you my new and updated work setup. If you have seen my recent videos, you will know that I picked up a Jibun Daily Techo on a whim earlier in the year, and although I really liked it, I didn't really have much of a day-to-day use for it. And I have recently moved roles and I need to switch up my planning routine because my current setup, which is basically just a bullet journal with kind of weeks to pages and things, is not quite working. I think I do have a video with my old setup, so I will link it in the cards just so you can kind of see it, just to see how I used to plan. And a lot of the kind of bones of this way of planning is very similar, so it might be a good video to watch as a bit of an intro. But I realised that I needed to switch up my planning going forward, and I realised that I had this coming up, which is the second half of the Jibun. So the planner is split into 2 months, it's split into two, so this starts on the 1st of July, and I thought, yeah, perfect. I started my new job kind of a couple of weeks ago, so this falls in perfectly with kind of having a whole new setup. And yeah, I thought I would show you kind of how I'm going to be using it. Because obviously there's lots of confidential stuff in a work planner, I can't kind of show you completed pages or anything like that, but I wanted to just basically talk you through how I'm going to be using it, and also just wanted to quickly mention my pouch. So in my last work video setup, I did talk about the pouch that I was using, and it was this lovely kind of yellow plasticky pouch thing that kind of stood up nicely on my desk and things like that. About 2 weeks after I filmed that video, I found that actually kind of on the seams, because it was just kind of plastic and glued, the seams had started coming apart, and I didn't even really overfill it. So it was quite disappointing that it kind of just failed very quickly. So I have now switched into this, which is a Midori pouch. I can't remember the name of it, but I will kind of leave the details below. I actually picked this up at the same time as the yellow pouch because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to use, and so I'm glad that I have this backup. This is a very simple pouch. It's got one main pocket and then a side pocket, so I find this really handy for my headphones, because I take a lot of calls on my laptop, so these just plug in. And I'm not a massive fan of wireless, particularly from the microphone perspective when I'm on calls. I hate having calls with people who have got like AirPods in or something, because the microphone is just shocking. So yeah, I'm a bit old school with my headphones, but these fit in perfectly. And then I've got kind of, because there's no pockets inside, so this is just a good place for my extra refills for my pen, because it just kind of keeps it set aside. And then inside the main kind of pocket, I just basically kind of have everything that I had last time. So I just have my pen, I have kind of highlighters, I have my small Hobonichi notebook for any kind of messy notes and things. The only additions, I think, from the last video is that I remembered in the move that I have this little wireless mouse, and it fits quite nicely in here, which means that I can actually use a mouse and around and about, because there's nothing worse than being sat in a meeting and having to use the god-awful touchpad. So now I can kind of carry a mouse with me around, and it's yeah, it's working out really well, because it's like a kind of rattan-y kind of material, so although I'm not stuffing it, it will obviously, or it should, kind of last a lot better than the plastic pouch. And it's a nice simple colour and packs away in my bag quite nicely. So yeah, just wanted to touch on that. And now we'll get into the actual setup. So this is the, like I say, just the standard daily Jibun, and I'm just using the cover that it comes with, and the only bit of decoration, because it is my work planner, so I do like to kind of keep things quite professional looking and not too crazy with my stickers. I do just like to put at least one sticker on the outside. This one is one that I recently picked up on Etsy, along with a couple of others at the same time, because I was just kind of having a little scoot around and was like, yeah, let's use this as an excuse to buy some more stickers. So I picked up this one. I'll leave the details in the description. And this one from the same shop, and I thought that was really cute on here. At the same time, I did pick up this one from a different shop. Again, I'll leave the links in case you're interested. And at the same time as I picked up this one, I did pick up these sheets. totally not using them for a work planner, but as I was talking about the die cut, I had to show these because these are absolutely stunning and I can't wait to get using these in my journaling. But yeah, side note about stickers, so I like just to have kind of a cute one on the front, and this is the one that I went for. I'm still kind of thinking of where to put these. I'm sure they will find a home on a planner at some point, because I do generally tend to put at least one on the front of all of my planners or notebooks. As you probably will have seen if you've been a subscriber of this channel for a while, there's always at least one sticker on the front of everything. Stickers and stuff out of the way, let's get into kind of the bulk of the planner. So opening up so if you missed the Jibun video, it is worth a watch, because I will just kind of talk a bit more detail in there in terms of the setup and how the pages look and things like that. I'll give an overview in this one, but not too much detail. But one of the things that I love about this for work is there's a pocket at the front and a pocket at the side. So if I get given any business cards, or if I have kind of any bits of paper that I need to kind of keep to hand, this will be perfect for just holding them all together and not having any, anywhere separate for paperwork, because I do like to keep stuff together. So just a little note on that. It does have a pen loop, so I am using my uni Jetstream, because I do like to multitask. I do like to colour code with my work notes where I can, and this is a lovely pen. I've raved about it loads on the channel, and probably when I go to Japan pick up a few more colours, just cause, alongside a load of refills. But this is 4 colours, pencil and rubber on the end, so it will be perfect for colour coding, and then the pencil for any kind of quick notes that I may want to take, or any quick diagrams. And it fits nicely in this pen loop, which is great because it is quite a thick pen, so it won't necessarily fit in all pen loops, but the one on here is quite thick. I suppose the only watch out that I've got on this one is because sometimes on these kind of covers the pen loop can fail over time, so it is something I'm going to keep an eye out for, particularly when I'm thinking about if this does work for next year. If the pen loop holds up, then great. If it does start to disintegrate, I might kind of rethink or think if there's a cover I can get for this, but that's a long way off. Opening up the actual planner, so continuing the theme of absolutely loads of pockets, there's 3 card slots in the front, and then obviously you can use this as a bit of a slip pocket. All I've done is my usual sticky notes and Cocoa Fusions, so I've just got some Stalogy clear sticky notes. I bought these a while ago and I haven't really been using them, because in the bulk of my planning I tend to use fountain pen, which obviously these don't work with. So because I'm using the uni Jetstream, because it's a ballpoint, these should work quite nicely. So I feel like these have now been, I was going to say relegated to work, that feels mean against them, but they will get used a lot more in work. I then have the Muji task sticky notes. I like to use these and just have them to hand, just in case it's kind of a quick to-do list I need to make for myself and just kind of move around or stick around. I tend to use these if I've got some kind of like long-term to-dos. I like to just have one of these on the go that I can just kind of add to, where it doesn't need to go in the planner specifically just yet, but I do need to kind of be aware of it. I'll have probably one of these just somewhere in the planner, so yeah, got those. And then Cocoa Fusion, so I'll always have kind of the normal kind of regular size ones just for marking out my current day page or any pages that are of note. This time around I've added in this Cocoa Fusion card, which is something that I picked up in Australia last year. The idea being with this, so I work in a trading role for a retailer, so I have lots of different suppliers, and kind of part of how I'm going to be using this is to capture meeting notes. And what I'm planning to do is to colour code the notes. So it might be that I colour code by supplier or colour code like certain projects or initiatives. I haven't kind of worked out how that's going to work, but I'm thinking that's going to be really handy, you know, particularly if I've got something that I know I'll need to refer back to quite often, which is why it might end up being suppliers. Just mark it with a certain colour, so I know that if I need to kind of check back any notes or anything, it'll make it a little bit easier to get to said notes. I won't use it for kind of everything. It'll be for more if I know I'm going to need to refer back to that at some point, then I'll use it. This will kind of, I'll work on this over time, but that's the idea so far. And then that's it in terms of the initial pages. I haven't used any of kind of these extra pages, all of the kind of tracking things. I don't really have a use for them. I don't have, you know, anything that I need to list. This is pure and simple kind of just day-to-day planning that I need this for, so they're not used. This will, so normally I don't use, and this is part of the reason why I've got a bullet journal currently for work. I never use the monthly calendars because I have an Outlook calendar, so I don't need to know what I'm doing when, and meetings change so often. I'd just be constantly writing things and then scrubbing them out. So what I'm using this for is, I will have some plans in here, but more work trips, just so I can kind of, you know, have it as a bit of a flag. I will put in any kind of hard deadlines that I know as well, just to help me see at a glance what's going on, when am I going to be busy, or when do I know that I need to do something for. The rest of the monthlies I'm actually going to be using kind of tied into when I was talking about the Cocoa Fusion tabs around any meetings. So not planning of meetings, but just recording of when a meeting happened. And the thought with this is, again, if I need to refer back to anything, if I can quickly find out when the meeting happened, I can then kind of go, okay, 19th of July, that meeting happened, find the page for the 19th of July, and then all my meeting notes are there. So this will almost be a bit of a, more than anything, a recording of things in case I need to go back and refer to any information. So I might also use it to highlight, you know, if there was a new product launch or a particular promo period that went live, and I might want to go back and look through to see what happened to sales, or, you know, anything like that I might potentially need to know about, and then potentially refer to related notes from that day. I'll just pop it in here and then I can quickly flick through. I've never really used a planner in this way before, so this is a bit new for me. I am intrigued to see how it's going to work for me. I'm hoping it'll work quite well. Yeah, we'll see. I suppose the only risk is if these pages aren't big enough for me to fit everything, but we'll see how we go before I start kind of going into that potential issue. But that's it for the monthly pages. I don't think I might use this just to record kind of notes about the month, maybe kind of things of interest around weather. So my category can be dependent on weather or anything that's going on kind of in the country or in the market. It might be worth kind of using that for notes. That probably won't get used unless I kind of, as I get into it, there might be some habits that I do want to develop, you know, do a certain thing every single day. Maybe I'll use that for that, but for the time being, this is the key part of the kind of monthly spread and how I'll be using it. I've used an autoclip, I think that's how I pronounce it. I did try and put too many pages on, and I have kind of bent the page, which you probably can't see on camera, but perfectionist me sees it and goes, oh, Tomorrow River paper, how annoying. Actually, it's not Tomorrow River paper. As in my last video, I said I wasn't sure, and then I updated it in the description and said it's definitely not Tomorrow River paper, and I had a few people commenting saying it's not, and I was like, yes, I know, I put it in the description. So it's their own proprietary paper, but it's a similar, so it's fountain pen friendly, but super, super thin, so it does have some of the same drawbacks where it can kind of bend quite easily. Just a side note on the paper. And yeah, so I've got that, so I can easily kind of get to whatever month we're on. But then for my kind of today kind of flag, rather than having a paper clip that I move around every day, I've just got a Cocoa Fusion tab, just because these are very easy to pull up and move to the next day. No faffing about. I'm not a big bookmark person. I snipped the bookmarks out of this because I hate them. So this will be easy just to move along to each day that I need it. We'll see how we go with that one, but normally this does me absolutely fine. That's how I set up most planners now. So yeah, that's how I get to my current day. This side of the page I'm not going to be using. What it might end up being used for is just random notes, because as I said in the video where I kind of did a review of this, it's not super in your face, kind of the boxes and things like that. So actually if I need to use it to scribble random notes, it's not going to get kind of it, you know, these bits aren't going to get in the way. I can just use it for that, and I'm not going to be precious about keeping things perfect. I'm just going to use the page for whatever I need. Then in terms of the actual daily pages, so what I've done at the back here on 29th of December, because it's a Sunday, so I shouldn't be working, I've just kind of sketched out how I intend on using the pages. So this, if you've seen how I use my work planner video, none of this will be really that new. And this is what I was saying earlier around kind of the bones of how I plan will be relatively similar in, you know, versus what I currently do in my bullet journal. So how I'm going to be using this kind of top section here is everything that I'm waiting on. So that can be everything from just waiting for confirmation on something, or waiting for some information, or if I've asked someone who works for me for something and I need him just to confirm back, or her to confirm back that they've done it, this will all get here with a kind of circular signifier that I then just mark off when it's done. Hopefully that should be enough space. If not, I don't currently have this earmarked for anything, so it could go into there, although I do have an idea which I'll touch on that I might use for this. And then how I'm splitting out the days is I'm going to use the left hand side with the checkboxes for my task lists and things to do. So everything that needs to be done that day will just go in here. And then obviously I can write things in for other days when they need to get done. And that's kind of part of the reason why I do need to move away from the bullet journal, because I need to capture tasks, but I don't want to capture them. So in my current format, I literally just set up, it's very kind of typical bullet journal. I just set up the date and then just kind of, you know, rapid log. But then I end up with a very messy to-do list where I don't really feel in control of what I need to do and when, because I've just got all of my tasks in one go and it can feel very overwhelming. So moving to this, I can actually move tasks into the right day that they actually need to be done, and then I can bring in some of the bullet journal elements around that if anything does get, or rather it doesn't get completed on one day and then gets moved on, then I can bring in some of the elements around ensuring that actually, you know, if I am transferring it to the next day, ensuring that it is worth transferring to the next day. So not just constantly moving things over, kind of having that self-reflection bit of, okay, I haven't got to this now 3 days running. Is it actually adding value? Is it worth my time? And kind of have that level of conversation with myself. So that's the task list. And then the right hand side, so this is the bit that I was talking about around any notes from the day and any meeting notes. So it will be very simple. I will probably do a different colour for this. So I'm thinking I've written it in black, but actually I think it's probably going to be in green just to kind of differentiate, or it might be that I kind of alternate, just so, because if I've got kind of one meeting notes there in one colour and then one meeting notes there in another colour, it will be easy for me to kind of see that there's different things, and it will just be a very simple title of the meeting. And then the notes, any action from the meeting will go into here or into the correct date. But what I probably will do is make a note of them in here, particularly if it's kind of where I'll need to send an email on the back of the meeting to say, here's the actions from this meeting, please go forth and do it. But that's the plan for this space. We'll see how I fare in terms of, will I run out of space? I'm not too sure. I do tend to have kind of a couple of really heavy days of meetings, and then it kind of tails off. So we'll see how that goes. But if I'm taking notes on a Friday and I've run out of space, then I could just go on to the Saturday and then just make sure that in the monthly it's reflected that there's meeting notes on this date. Like, I'm fairly certain there's ways around it. It won't be too much of an issue. But that's the plan for this space. And I'm pretty excited to get started with this, actually. I want it to be the 1st of July because I do feel like this will make me feel a lot more organised than I am now. Like I say, currently I just have a very long task list mixed in with some notes, and where I've done some quick workings out, and I don't feel very organised, and I'm hoping this will get me back to feeling organised. The bit that I was just thinking around kind of the bottom of here, if waiting on kind of fits in here quite nicely, is just a bit of a summary of the day. So there's obviously things that I look at each morning, so sales, availability from a stock perspective and some other bits that are kind of really a daily check-in, I feel like this could be a good area to just make a note of that, so I know kind of each day what was going on, particularly when it comes to then the following week, kind of doing some sales reporting and things like that. If I can look back through and go, okay, this is what happened on this day, this should be really helpful. If I find that this isn't enough space for waiting on, because I won't need a huge amount of space here, I could just flip those. But ideally I want to keep it like that because I want the waiting on stuff at the top where I'm most likely to see it, and the bottom just something to kind of refer to because I won't necessarily need that as front and center as that. That's how I've kind of got it figured out for now, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty excited to get cracking. Other than that, there isn't anything else kind of set up in this planner. There's only a few kind of spare pages, so I will use my trusty Hobonichi, this is the A6 plain book, so I'll use that for any kind of messy notes where I know I won't need to refer back to it again or anything like that. But other than that, everything should be living in here. And that is it for my setup. Hopefully that all made sense, and hopefully enjoyed me kind of talking you through it. Apologies I can't kind of show you a proper kind of this is how I've been using it, but like I say, because it's obviously my work planner, I won't be able to do that, but hopefully I can at least give you a bit of a check-in later in the year with this is how it's going, or this is how I've changed it, or this is how I've completely reimagined how I do it. But fingers crossed, I'm pretty confident with this, and I'm just kind of keen to get cracking with it really. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye.